He is an investigative journalist. He is the chief executive officer and editor-in-chief of Just the News. Please welcome back to the program, John Solomon.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be with you.
John, do we always give you high five, standing O's, or what?
That's impressive. I like it. It's good for my ego.
Speaking of impressive,
good to be with you.
Wasn't Hegseth impressive?
He was. He had a tremendous confirmation hearing, and I think Democrats have all acceded now that he is going to be confirmed. And I think most importantly, he is a great case study of not folding your cards just because the establishment or the elitists tell you to. There were a lot of people that were willing to give up on Pete Hegseth back in November. He stood his ground, as did his lawyer, who was very effective on television early on, bought him some time, and then people got to see the real Hegseth, not the one defined by fake stories in the media or by Democrat innuendo attacks, which is really how they was attacked. They didn't have the goods. They just had the innuendo.
And therein, John, lies, in my opinion, why Trump sent him up there first. They knew all this stuff about him. He allegedly had all these flaws. And if Hegseth can stand the fire, that means the rest of Donald Trump's nominees are going to have an easier time.
That's right. In fact, that is true from my reporting. That was a strategic decision made by Susie Wiles and President Trump and others to put him as the vanguard. Because if you win the toughest one first, everything else moves ahead a lot quicker. And I think it sets a really good stage for someone like a Kash Patel and a Robert F. Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, who the media have all also tried to stick their foot out to trip up. But I think they're all in a pretty good space. And I think one of the things you see in all of the first 10 nomination hearings is the preparation that these secretaries and appointees went through. They knew their stuff. That segment you just played, that is remarkable granular detail for a defense secretary who probably doesn't need to know that, but he knew it. And that, I think, is a sign that these were really well-prepared nominees.
You probably would know this. I can't remember. Were any of Biden's nominees rejected?
No, he went right through. I think the first big failure for Joe Biden is when his disinformation governance board lady fell, but really he got a cakewalk.
Did you watch Biden's farewell speech?
I did. Yeah, I couldn't tell which one I liked less, the Red Wall speech or last night, but they were just so negative and condescending to the American people.
Well, my favorite is no one is above the law, except, of course, for Hunter, whom he pardoned.
Yes.
And then it's attack on dark money. I mean, he just gave a Presidential Medal of Freedom to George Soros. George Soros put the D in dark money.
Yeah, and by the way, those oligarchs he was warning about were on his side for the first couple of years, censoring us all. He's just mad that they switched teams. That's all. Yeah, Joe Biden leaves office as a highly unpopular and unaccomplished president, and I suspect history will look back at him and conclude that he was one of the smallest and least effective presidents in history.
I'm talking to John Solomon, the CEO of Just the News. What is your take on why Michelle Obama did not go to Jimmy Carter's funeral and why she's already said she's not going to Donald Trump's inauguration?
I haven't been able to get confirmation. I hate to speculate, but I've seen some reporting that is consistent with earlier things I've heard about Michelle Obama, that she doesn't want to go and pretend that she's in support of President Trump. She's not. And so that isn't specific to these last two events, but previously I know that's been an issue. Maybe that's carrying through. And listen, if that's her principle and she wants to stand on it, that's their choice. Usually inaugurations are a moment of unification. Her husband's famous speech on January 20th, 2009, talked about bringing a nation together. She's not living up to even the promise of her husband's first inauguration address in this inauguration, but it'll be a personal choice for her. And will the country stop because of it? I don't think so.
Well, that's my analysis. I think that she did not want to go to the Carter funeral because Lord knows where they might tell her to sit. Right. She did not want to be close to Donald Trump. Same thing with the inauguration. And I think it's this. At least, John, she's being consistent. She truly believes that Donald Trump is evil. She truly believes that Donald Trump is a fascist, is a dictator. Barack Obama said all those kinds of things or similar things. He doesn't believe any of them. He's a politician. He said them because he wanted power. But Michelle Obama is a true believer.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, I think that's how her base will look at these decisions, and that's fine. And, Americans will accept it. It's not a big deal to them. Listen, what Americans really want taken care of is those 7% mortgage rates and those creeping inflation, which creep back up again as Joe Biden is leaving. He never solved it in 4 years. they're much more concerned about those issues. And if President Trump gets to work as he has already, I mean, the Trump factor has already had profound effect across the world. He's not even in office. Americans are going to be feeling a lot better, and it really won't matter to them that Michelle Obama just couldn't stomach being at the inauguration.
Mm-hmm. Was it Pam Bondi to whom one senator asked her whether or not she believed that Joe Biden truly won 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the confirmation that came up. That was her hearing where that question came up. It came up a couple times. Yeah.
And John, when I announced my candidacy for the recall election, that was the very first question I was asked. And I said, please tell me what they have to do with crime and homelessness and the way Gavin Newsom shut down the state and the fact that we're losing population, our schools rank near the bottom. The average price of a home costs twice as much as it does nationwide. Yeah, but do you believe that Donald Trump really won 2020? I was asked that over and over and over again. And and I said all of this, and it never got printed. I said, so Hillary can sit around for 4 years, refer to Donald Trump as illegitimate, say it's stolen. Jimmy Carter can say the Russians put him there. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader now in the House, said that Donald Trump was illegitimate. Kamala Harris said it. Nobody calls them election deniers. You never ask any of them, did Donald Trump legitimately win 2016?
No, that's right. Listen, the media. Here's the funny thing about the news media, and I grew up in it. Listen, I grew up in the legacy news media. I was very proud of my work at the AP, the Washington Post, the Washington Times. But at the end of the day, the last 10 years of media have rendered that legacy profession almost meaningless. Most Americans don't think it. There was a poll out by Gallup just a month ago that said I think it was 36% of Americans never believe the media,
right, and
only 31% believe them most of the time. I mean, that their whole coin of relevance is, are you believable? If only 31% is, they're irrelevant to the conversation today. And Donald Trump showed that with his 2024 election. He just went around the media. He could do a Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and reach more people than he ever would catering to the New York Times.
And the polls show that the media has even less respect than Congress. Can you believe that?
You got to work hard to get to that level.
Talk about a low bar. John Solomon, CEO of Just the News. John, as always, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Great honor to be with you, Larry. Thank you.
God bless.